All right. Well, welcome, guys. I'm sure you guys had a nice, relaxing morning. I'm sure. My morning has been quite hectic as I've been managing the stream all morning. But looks like Vase, you're still all snugged up in your bedroom.
Yeah, well, if I turn the heater on, it's so loud that it's gonna interrupt the stream. So I have to bundle up. It's
Suffer
bad audio. Yeah.
Suffer for your art, Vase.
Yeah.
Your country proud.
It's the life.
Yeah, what's that like?
What?
Suffering for your art. What's that like?
Right.
You wouldn't understand. No. Who is that? What is that disembodied voice?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not on camera right now because I look like butt.
Well, I wasn't shaming you. I was just saying, ladies and gentlemen, MJ Newman.
Hello. In case it wasn't obvious.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come on and join us for a little bit. It's really nice to have you, MJ.
That's my pleasure.
So
thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so normally we do a little bit of preamble, but we'll skip that in the interest of time here. Vase, why don't you go ahead and bam some questions at him.
Wow, just like that.
Oh, hold on. If we're gonna skip the intro,
anyone doesn't know.
If we're gonna skip the intro and not introduce ourselves or whatever, that's cool. Two things. Number one, I've been telling my brand new cat Onyx all about.
Oh my god.
MJ coming on, and hey Onyx, look at the screen. You're making me look bad. Yeah.
Wait.
Onyx really wanted to meet you. Okay,
oh.
There you go.
There we go.
I saw that.
There, wait.
Cats everywhere.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see. If my cat shows up at any point, I will turn on my camera and I will push her into it so that you can see. That's a beautiful cat. Oh my god, I love black cats.
Black cats are amazing. And then just real quick, in honor of having MJ on the stream and this being for charity, I have a very, very special, just a few question trivia round that incorporates MJ. Are we ready?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Name Poppy's best friend in the book Darkdrifters. Anybody?
Please tell me. Okay, anybody? Because
my wife's been reading it, and she's asleep right now.
Anybody can answer.
I think it's unfair if I answer.
No, that's the point, MJ. That's the point.
Okay.
Anybody? 5, 4,
Charlotte.
Nobody? Correct. Awesome job. For a bonus point, I happen to have a copy of the book right here.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm going to start reading a random thing here, and I would like anybody to finish. Protect the drift. Anybody in stream? Nobody?
I got to go get my copy.
Slay the nightmare. Free the Mara. Do not go dark.
That is verbatim what I have in my book, wow. Everybody. This is
You're really good at this, MJ.
And just
I wonder
just
why.
To point out, I just want to give a quick shout out because not only has MJ been absolutely incredible over the years, producing great content for all of us here to love Arkham Horror, and beautiful writing, great pacing, play it again and again and again. But then MJ took a passion project with is it NaNoWriMo?
NaNoWriMo. National
NaNoWriMo. I don't think I will ever say it correct because I didn't on the last one. And made Darkdrifters, The Key and the Crescent. So I just wanted to give a shout out, and people can find your book, I assume, online. Is that right?
I'm sorry. Yeah. You can find it on my personal website, bewaretheblackcat.com. And you can also find it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out, not quite Arkham related, but coming from someone that I think everybody in this channel respects the art of very much. Thank you for letting me do that.
Thank you so much.
Winner. MJ also won the trivia round. I just want to point that out.
Did I? Okay.
Okay. Base, I am unpausing you. Go.
We're just gonna quick fire questions right away, just like that.
Sure. Yeah. Hit me.
I guess since we're on the topic of writing, of you being a writer, have you ever considered writing an Arkham Horror novella?
Ooh.
Have I ever considered it? Yes, definitely. It's tough because my workload is already kind of like filled, and the Key and the Crescent, like Nathan said, was kind of a passion project. So it was like a side project. That had nothing to do with FFG. That was me on my personal time. Writing an Arkham Horror novella, obviously that would be for FFG, right? So ostensibly that would eat into my work time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a tough sell for management, I think. But it was something I would love to do, and who knows? Maybe with Aconite now in the mix, writing, getting authors to do like tie-in fiction, mostly long-form fiction like novels. Maybe that's a possibility down the line. Who knows? I think it'd be really cool. We've had other FFG designers write novellas before, so it's not unheard of.
Yeah, if anyone is qualified, certainly it would be you, right?
Okay, I will send you. I will send you the email of my boss. I'm just kidding.
If you did write one, which investigator would you pick to write a story for?
Ooh, now that's a good question. I think it would be Skids.
Nice.
Because I think Skids has a really rich backstory. I would love to tell the story of how he got caught, or maybe the story of like him just getting out and like figuring out that there's more to this world. You know what I mean? Like
you can always have a flashback.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ideally, I think a story around Skids would tie both together, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Man from Lang ran a Call of Cthulhu game based on oh my god, Curtain Call. And I played Skids and I played Skids and he asked why I picked Skids and I said his story is just so good. He's done a lot of wrong things for the right reasons. It's just he's a really interesting character.
I like that tagline.
Yeah, I love
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I love his personality, the like criminal with a heart of gold sort of deal. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Anyone want to shoot a question, or do you want me to just?
Base. I'm thinking of a guardian weapon, long blade, short handle. Go.
Cuchilla. No, that's no machete.
I promise people.
All right.
Next question, Base.
All right. Let's do one from someone who emailed one. This is just a fun one. I don't know that there's an actual answer for this, but now that we have Diana Stanley, this is from N. Fellenberg. Now that we have Diana Stanley, I, like Sean from Mythosbusters, would like to start the new meme running joke. When is Daryl Simmons going to be released? And can we have an ally Daryl and an enemy Daryl? All brothers. They work for.
Sorry, I didn't catch the end of that.
Yeah, you cut out
or
there, Base.
Does that only work for Peters?
Well, obviously, I can't tell you if or when Daryl will make it into the game, but I think the goal is we'll have all of them in the game eventually, right? So, I guess you'll just have to wait and see.
Is that like a hard soon?
Yeah, well, I can't say hard soon, but I can say the idea of ally investigators has been on my mind for a while. I don't know if that would ever happen. I mean, there's a lot of other characters that we can draw on for allies. The ally slot is kind of like really competitive slot creatively because it's really the only other place we can like inject new characters into the IP besides like villains. So it'd be kind of a tough sell to add like 50 something new allies that are all investigators, but it's something that we've done before a lot in Lord of the Rings and also in Marvel, where we'll have like an ally version of a character and a hero version of a character. And in fact, in Lord of the Rings, there's many versions of each character. So yeah, maybe eventually, if the game goes on long enough, I think that's definitely something that could happen.
And I don't know if you saw it, but there was a thread recently about which allies you would want to see become investigators. And that would be a really cool dynamic to take just a couple here and there that people have like really enjoyed and really grown to love, and then, you know, fleshed out. What would Milan Christopher finally look like? You know, how would he be different than, because I mean, you know, graduation day, right? All the investigators didn't start off as investigators. You know, some of them start off as like beat cops and art students.
Right. No, it's definitely true. And like a lot of our investigator pool, I would say all of them, but like the few that we've created in the last few years are like legacy characters from older game lines that we've sort of inherited. And so we've kind of done our best with the allies to like breathe new life into the IP with a lot of these characters. And so a lot of them are pretty beloved, I would say. So yeah, I would love to see some allies like promoted to investigator status at some point. I would also just love to see brand new characters. We had a ton of fun making Stella and Winnie and Nathaniel. Some more characters like that just from out of the blue would also be great. Actually, I have a question for you. Which ally would you want to be made into an investigator?
Ooh, that's
each of
question.
You.
I feel like the table has been turned like a giant eldritch lazy Susan. I already answered on that post, so I'll go ahead and repeat it here. I think Brother Xavier would be really interesting. He kind of straddles the line of Father Mateo, but there's also, you know, the Guardian edge, being as he's also a Guardian. I don't know. That'd be another hot take. More of a supportive role.
What about the rest of you?
Chat. Someone said Baron Samedi.
Baron Samedi.
Take horror. What?
Sub-Zero.
Take a Doom. Why?
That'd actually be kind of really cool, though, right? Because
it would.
There'd be a lot of really interesting design that you could do. I think for me, I'd really like to see Leo DeLuca.
Yeah, Leo DeLuca is great. I was very happy when he ended up in the Roland novella. That's a character that sort of has grown like out of his original role to become like such a beloved character. I think it's the subtitle.
Absolutely.
Man from Lane.
I don't know whether it would be possible due to licensing issues, but I would love to see Harvey Walter's long-suffering friend Kurt.
Okay.
Poor Kurt has suffered so much over the years that since the beginning of Call of Cthulhu, that dying so many times to Harvey's adventures.
He would definitely have to have a when he leaves playability, right?
Exactly, yeah, and I think he's torn apart in every edition of the role-playing game. So,
poor Kurt. And this has already probably been floated, but how cool would it be to see an Ashcan and Duke where Duke is the lead, and Ashcan's like helping him out by like feeding him snacks and like.
Right? Yeah.
I don't even know.
Sounds pretty good. I wonder if anyone ever thought of that.
I would love to play that.
Well, speaking of how to play,
topic in chat says Delilah O'Rourke, so we can pack it up. That's the correct answer.
There we go. I like
what? Good job.
Yes, Olive McBride would be great.
Oh, Olive.
She seems
Olive
a little.
McBride is our Arkham Horror, the card game's producer, Molly Glover.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And
a little bit of trivia for you, Nathan.
Bark Harrigan is her dog, Peaches.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Well, that's funny because I was singing Peaches for free. I was singing that song, you know, as I was playing. So I mean, it just meant to be there.
Well, I have a very important question for you, MJ. What's your favorite way to play Arkham?
My favorite way to play Arkham?
Mm-hmm.
Like solo.
Like define way. Okay, all right. Like hanging upside down like a bat. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In cultist robes.
Honestly,
in the basement.
It's kind of a cop-out answer because I don't get to play Arkham that much outside of like work. Most of the time, like I would say 99% of the time I'm playing Arkham, it's playtesting. But I do have to say, after after 2020, like, so we used to play test every week. We would order pizza and we'd play test in the office every Wednesday, and we had like our crew that would come every week and we'd play. And like, I miss the crap out of that. We obviously can't do that anymore, so we had to stop doing that, like in April of last year. So we haven't had a weekly playtest in forever. I mean, we still playtest, don't mind. I mean, the weekly playtest was one of many, but it was my chance to sit down and like engage with some of my local playtesters. So I think I have to say that I miss that. I miss that atmosphere, that like routine. I miss the pizza. It was great.
Anyway, we have a very long tradition of pizza here.
Hell yeah!
Friday is pizza and beer here on the stream. So glad that tradition is kept up elsewhere too.
Watch out, Nate! You're gonna get fat, man.
Yeah. Bread makes you fat.
That's such a good movie.
Fatter. Yeah. That's part.
Can I jump in with a quick question? This is unfortunately one of mine, so I apologize in advance. After having now designed several cycles and standalones, what would the current MJ tell MJ from 4 years ago when you were just getting started? Like, what are a couple bits of advice? And I think we've asked something like this before, but I've had people ask me to ask you something similar, so I just combined it into one question.
Sure, and I'm sure it changes every year too, like for good reason.
You're like, buy a bunch of masks. What?
Right? Yeah. Get ready. 22 is coming. 2020.
Same difference. You never know what's happening next year.
Oh God, don't even jinx it. I think. I think I would tell myself to don't sweat it and like just do what feels right. I think I have a tendency to overthink things sometimes, and usually it doesn't end up changing any of my designs because I'll just keep going with it. But like I have a tendency to get kind of anxious about like, are people gonna like this weird thing that I did? And then people ended up really liking the weird stuff. People ended up liking the weird stuff more than the normal stuff. So I think just don't be afraid to just like go with my gut. My gut that is inspired by crazy shit that I find, like or some of my favorite games, some of my favorite video games like Zero Escape that are just absolutely wild. Yeah.
Make it memorable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those memorable experiences I think are what stick with people. Those emotional experiences, whether they're good or bad, that's what resonates with people. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all here for the weird, so the more weird, the better.
Good to know.
Speaking of designing, has designing games changed your perspective when playing games designed by other people? Like, are you more critical or more sympathetic about rules or interactions that don't necessarily work well in a particular game?
Yeah, so this is kind of a twofold answer because on the one hand, I've always been like that. So I was designing games in my basement with my dad's components. My dad was a game designer, and he would have like all these little components in like storage stuff in my basement, and I would make games. I was making games in like middle school. They weren't good, but I was making them. So like when I started playing video games or playing other board games, even like professionally made ones with like whole entire teams and stuff, I would always be like, how would I do this differently? You know what I mean? Like what don't I like about this game and what would I fix and that sort of thing. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse because I can dissect a game and like figure out what I don't like or what I do like about it. And then like I can never go back. I can never just like turn that part of my brain off and just enjoy a game. I have to like break it down to its parts. But what I have learned since joining FFG over the last like 8 years is there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that I can appreciate. So now when I open up a game box, it's not just like, is this game good? It's like, oh my good, look at the cut on this vacuum tray. You know what I mean? Like I can appreciate so many things that I know were probably a nightmare for someone to figure out, and like artwork and graphic design and stuff like that, that it kind of was just like behind the scenes quality for me before, and now it's like one of the first things that I pay attention to. The way that like a rule book is organized, like even just like I will nerd out about like how good an index is now, but like I never would care about that before, that sort of thing.
It's really interesting you say that, because I feel the same way with 15 years of cooking experience too. You know, I can look at a plate of food and really kind of have a different sense of appreciation for it. So
that's a great analogy. Yeah,
I can really understand where you're coming from in that regard. Yeah.
When you're a kid, you eat a hot dog and you're like, this tastes good. It's meat with ketchup, done. But then, like, you know, you learn to appreciate the subtlety of the different spices and everything. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
You know, it's funny. I feel nerdy just like Nate, because I was thinking of when I went to film school at Universal Studios, and I worked on light sources for 8 hours straight while trams were coming by on the set of Jurassic Park 3. And now, of course, anytime I ever watch a movie, everybody's like just enjoying it. And I'm like, holy cow. And they're like, what? I'm like, they must have done that take like 1,000 times because that lighting's perfect. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's interesting, your perspective.
I think every profession has subtleties like that don't get that, you know, like if you're just like a casual connoisseur, you might not notice. And then the more you delve into it, the more you realize like how much other thought gets put into like every little bit of everything. You know what I mean?
Just don't delve too deep. Right? You know, I mean, you get experience that way, but crazy.
Oops. All right, next question. This one's from Solar J, and
I love
this
that
one
guy.
says, yeah, it's kind of similar to a question we asked earlier, but it's different enough that I think it's worth asking. Are there any earlier cards in Arkham, such as cards from the core set, you would alter now if you could, knowing the direction that the game has taken? Not specifically taboo list type stuff, which focuses more on supporting the meta, but ones that still work, but perhaps don't hold the same punch. Example, Obscuring Fog. The Return 2 sets kind of help support this redesign a bit, but he was wondering if there were certain cards that sometimes hold back the design space.
So, like, and I know that cards Blowgun was one of the ones.
Player or encounter cards.
I mean, yeah, obviously, like any product that we put out, we're always going to wish we could go back and redesign parts of it or the entire thing, and that's just kind of part of the creative process. Like at a certain point, you have to just be hands off, and if you keep like thinking like, oh, I can make it better, I can make it better, I can make it better all the time, you'll just drive yourself crazy, because at some point it has to be done. And done is always better than perfect is like a good motto for the creative process. That being said, I am kind of a perfectionist, so looking back, like absolutely, if I could go back to the core set today, I would change things. I'm not going to name any specific cards, but definitely like the encounter sets in the core set have been something that we've become like so attached to. I actually quite like that part of the core set design, but there are some encounter sets that I wish that were maybe broken out and kept separate, like the treacheries in Midnight Masks that keep getting used over because I like them, and they fit so many different scenarios. But the fact that they're attached to that encounter set just makes it a little bit of a pain to set up those scenarios. So I wish I had broken those out, stuff like that. But like, I think a lot of the cards that people think about, like, oh, would you redesign Ancient Evils? And I'd be like, no, Ancient Evils is perfect. Get wrecked.
The word evil is in the name because it's an evil card.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like you mentioned, Obscuring Fog. Like, no, I don't think I would change Obscuring Fog. I think Obscuring Fog is
I just don't see it.
Is fine. But yeah, there are definitely cards that I would want to change. More so, I think, probably on the player side than on the encounter side.
That's interesting. Cool. You say that.
That's very taboo of you. I got one more quick one to throw in there, and then I'm done on my end, if that's okay with you, Base. Do I get the thumbs up?
I give permission. I grant the permission.
Oh, he just texted me a finger. Hey, hold on, let me get my phone right. Simply put, this is something that Vase had brought up when he talked about the possible issues with distribution, the current distribution model. I don't know if you were privy to this in our last podcast or in the group. There was talk of, in order to make entire cycles possible after a cycle comes out, to maybe come out with like a super deluxe, all the packs from a cycle along with the deluxe, like a big bundle.
Right.
Because it would be kind of eco-friendly, where you wouldn't have all the plastic shells. It wouldn't be people hunting multiple countries or paying quadruple prices from scalpers, and people could play. Because unlike Lord of the Rings, which was awesome, unlike Marvel, which is awesome, with Arkham, if you are missing pack 3 of the 6 extra packs, a lot of people just don't play that cycle. Right. And it causes a lot of frustration and drop off. But if you had, because if you bought it all individually, that would be like, what is that? 45, 60, like 115 for the entire cycle. If you had the entire cycle in one box for 100, I know it's a lot of money. It would sell. And coming from 10 years of working at a game store and selling people entire cycles at a time, I think that would sell really well. And plus, it would also be a storage box to boot, because the size of the box you'd sell it in could be like a kind of a return to new product. Anyway, that we just wanted to share that with you. I'm sure you've heard that.
Sound more like a sales pitch than a question.
I mean, I might have designed it, and I might be ready to move to FFG to take a job there. Design some allies. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I'll text you later.
Well, the Rosedale Mall is really nice, so.
I can't say what we do or do not have planned in the future. As you know, that is something I can't talk about. But I will say we've talked about that a lot internally. So it's not something that we haven't talked about, and it's not something that we haven't debated hotly many times. There's pros and cons to almost every approach that we can possibly take. I happen to I don't want to say more, but yes, I think that would be pretty cool. It is tough to sell people on $100 box. That is kind of tough. Like, I think that's one of the biggest like hiccups right there, is that like $100 price point is really daunting for people. But I do think that there's a lot of merit in what you're saying.
Sure. So my last quick interruption, and I'm really good at it. Like in D&D stats, I've got an 18 for interrupting, so I apologize. Coming from a sales perspective, and I mean, I sold a ton of games, especially a lot of Arkham. It is not a hard sell. You would think it would be. You really would think it would be. But the amount of times people bought multiple core boxes, that's like now $90, right? The amount of times people bought entire cycles, or selling people $140 Gloomhaven or 2 random games for $90 to $100. No, you get something that people really want, and there is a very strong community for Arkham. I don't have to tell anybody that twice. With all the cycles, so you don't have to hunt and find it, and you have storage. And if there's one other small thing that comes in that box, like dividers, or like a special bonus encounter set of 10 cards, or something that would make people want to get that entire cycle, oh boom, are you kidding me? That's easier to sell than a meh $30 game. And that's gonna sound dramatic. It is absolutely true, and I could sell that product forever.
No, so I hear you. That's my 2 cents. It's a lot. It's also easier for retailers to store in their store, not having like rows and rows and rows of clamshells. I will say, if we ever did do something like that, it probably wouldn't be in addition to the clamshells, because it's even more SKUs. You know what I mean? That's even more of a hell for retailers.
And it would be a replacement potentially instead of an addition.
I mean, that's something that we debated a lot when we first started working on the game. Is like, how are we going to do the distribution model for this game? And we ended up with what we have, but it was a big debate. I mean, we talked about that for weeks, trying to figure out like what the best thing to do. For me,
I'll bring my PowerPoint.
I really like the episodic nature of the way that Mythos packs come out, because it's kind of like a TV show spreading across multiple weeks. And like I think I said this earlier, but like I'm watching WandaVision right now, and I love listening to like everyone like keeping up with the theories and like Westworld when that was coming out, and like, you know, in being engaged with that community. And I think that's a better. I think that keeps the community more engaged than like when Netflix drops an entire season of Stranger Things and you watch the whole thing in one night and then it's out of your mind the next week. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's a good point. With Forgotten Age, I remember seeing people talking. No spoilers here, but in regards to two different factions that were possibly involved with some characters that you meet early in the campaign, and people were shooting all sorts of theories about it. I remember reading a lot of the theories and having a lot of fun, just like trying to work all the things that had happened earlier in the campaign. And yeah, it was kind of cool like that. Like you said, like WandaVision, not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah. So I was a big proponent of that, of the episodic nature, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you said that you wouldn't want to add, you would want to substitute, but in a perfect world, if I was in charge of this at FFG, thank God that I'm not, having that episodic drama unfold and keep people engaged, I think is great. And then when it's all done, then you give either people that are trying to complete the cycle or people that, you know, patiently waited for this to come out, that all-in-one deluxe option. Then you get best of both worlds, and it would be one extra SKU per cycle. So I don't know. I see that as being a nice possibility, but I will jump off the topic. Like the Bridge of Thorns. I'm jumping off.
All right. Another question from Solar J. He asked a few questions, so I'm picking a couple here that aren't related to anything coming in the future. Here's a good one. Bless and Curse have been strong additions to the game, but they rely a lot of card interactions and synergies that will probably only be realized after the full cycle is done. The other cycles had their own individual focus on card mechanics like Composures, Bonded, Myriad, Seal, etc. Do you have a favorite additional mechanic from the cycles released so far?
I think it is the Bless and Curse cards. I think they add so much to not only deck building, but also like the after 4 cycles of pulling tokens from a bag, you get really good at playing the odds, right? You get really good at being like, okay, I'm 3 up. There's only 2 tokens that could cause me to fail. All right, cool, I did it. And just having 1 curse token in the bag just like throws all of your calculations off, and it's very hard to play that probability game. Or you play the same probability game, but you forget that there's 2 curse tokens in the bag, and it screws you over, and that feels kind of good, in my opinion. So I think that they add a lot, even if you're not running the cards that go along with it. They're just cool to exist. And then if you are running all the cards that like synergize with them, it's, I think, one of the coolest additions that we've done, and also like one of the most complete. With a lot of the other additions that we've done with like player card mechanics and cycles, they're usually tied to a single faction, like the sealing cards, or they're only in a couple packs, or like the bonded cards and Dream Eaters, where it's not a ton of cards, it's maybe like 12 cards that use them. And I think that the Bless and Curse, we really like went all in on it. I mean, honestly, it's like half of the cycle, I think, that utilizes that mechanic. And I think it's gone over really well. I really like them. I'm glad that everyone else likes them too.
Yeah, I have to say, admittedly, I was a little bit skeptical at first. Not
I think
being in the in the different perspective, it was hard to see like where it was gonna go and how it was gonna pan out. But I think I think the way that it has panned out is really cool and really interesting. So I think you guys have done a great job in that regard.
Awesome. I'm really glad. Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough line to walk because we wanted to put enough cards in the cycle that synergized with it that players didn't think it was like an immediately dead on arrival mechanic or something.
Mm-hmm.
But we also didn't want it to be every card, because then if you didn't like Bless and Curse, you were like, well, I just skipped this cycle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a tough line to walk. We wanted to include enough cards that everyone was happy on both sides. And also, like, I think it's worth noting too that there's a lot of cards in this cycle and in previous cycles that don't explicitly say anything about Bless and Curse tokens, but actually synergize very, very well with them. So that's a lot of fun. It's like it forces you to reevaluate like the entire card pool.
Also, there was a question about possibly releasing that versus mode against the Keeper or other slight alternates, and I can't help. Last note on this, I can't help but think that would be a really cool addition to like the grand collection or whatever at the end of a cycle, where you're like, hey, in this box you can also get the versus the Keeper mode or the parallel universe official prints, things like that. Because I would just buy that. I would buy each of those just to have that one thing, let alone the fact that I already buy 4 of it.
Somebody clearly works in sales. God.
I know. Yeah, hardwired.
It's tough too, because I'm the kind of person who will continue to take on new projects until it buries me.
Yeah.
I get really excited for new projects, so I'll be like, oh, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And I'll
added an ice cream.
Yeah, I'll bite off more than I can chew and I'll choke on it, and they'll be like, okay, we're gonna take this project away from you because you have too much on your plate.
Well, I'm gonna steal Vase's question here, and this was something that was brought up in our Discord server a couple of weeks ago, actually. Totally unrelated to Arkham, but actually kind of related.
Fun question.
Definitely a fun question. What is a scary or unexplainable experience that you've had that still scares you when you think about it?
Just in general?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like in your life, like maybe supernatural or something you can't explain that happened to you.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is a little not too personal, but definitely not a story that I've told to many people. When I was in, let's see, how old was I? I must have been in middle school. Yeah, I was like 13ish. I used to go to a summer camp that was 4-H camp. It was on a farm kind of out east on Long Island in like Riverhead area, and it was really cool camp. Like you would learn how to do farming stuff, you would like do ranching stuff, you would plant crops and like do irrigation, you would fish, all of this stuff. And one day we were out on a tractor learning how to drive a tractor, and it started raining. So they were like, all right, we're gonna bring everyone back because you're just sitting in the back of a tractor getting soaking wet. And as the tractor was heading back, it was like the wheels were kicking up mud into the back of the tractor. So we're all like covered in mud, like miserable. It sucked. And then we got back to the lodge, and someone, like a girl, came up to me and like wiped the mud off of my face and like gave me a smile and then left. And I never saw that person again. That person does not exist. I swear to God, I went looking for that person to say thank you. They vanished off the face of the planet. I asked, like, did you see a girl look like this, like brown hair, yellow, like raincoat, whatever? Doesn't exist. I swear to God, it was a ghost. I don't know.
That was Poppy.
Poppy in my nightmare, in my tractor nightmare.
That's very
It was just a creepy. Wow. It was very weird. I was there for 2 months. Like, it's unlikely that 7 weeks of camping I would not see that person again. There were only like 100 people at the camp. It's very strange.
But we have her in the Discord right now. Random girl who wipes mud off of boys' faces. Why don't you introduce yourself?
There you go.
I like when you ask that question, Nate. Sub-Zero Joe, his answer was spiders.
What spiders? Yeah, it's just spiders.
Spiders
in general. Yeah. For spiders. A second, I thought you were asking, have you ever had a supernatural occurrence happen while playing Arkham Horror, the card game?
Now that would be crazy.
Now have you? Cool.
No, unfortunately. I'm like, yeah, I was playing and then I looked and then my entire collection was gone. And it's like, yeah, someone just robbed you. Like, that's supernatural.
You're like, no, that's just really shitty, actually. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, no, that just sucks. Maybe a ghost really likes my game.
So we have a question from chat from Phileon for you, MJ. What's your favorite mechanic on a location, negative or beneficial?
On a location? That's hard because there's so many. I really, really like the endless staircase in Thousand Shapes. I think that's like one of my favorite like location mechanics. And I can't claim credit for that. That was all Danny, Daniel Schaefer. He designed that scenario, and it ended with just the flight down the staircase, and nothing else. Right? It was just get to the end of the staircase. Nothing fancy about it. And then he brought me over one day and he was like,
steps.
Right, yes. He brought me over and he was like, yo, check this out. And he like picks up the location at the bottom and he just moves it to the top. And like he had like, you know, someone like on the staircase, and I was like, oh, that's evil. Let's do it. So yeah, that's cool.
Well, if anyone goes down that endless staircase, they'll eventually find Skid's corpse there, because the last time I played that scenario, he was surrounded by ghouls.
Not like that, Skids.
It's the ghoul. So this is another Solar Day question. Did you check out the adversarial draft mode from Scott and Casey from Mythosbusters? And if so, did you enjoy it? What did you think about it?
I did. I didn't play it. Well, I think I did briefly like test it out with them. I didn't play through like a full game or anything. I just kind of like, they showed me what it was all about. I thought it was really cool. I love drafting, so I love the idea of like adding a draft mode to a game that doesn't have it, like a game that isn't collectible and doesn't have the like draft capability. A lot of people don't know I actually worked on one of the draft sets in Netrunner back in the day. I forget which one it was. It was the third one, I think. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, drafting is cool. I like what they did with it. I like the idea of like creating your character instead of just drafting it. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was neat. I'm glad that they did it. I hope they do more stuff like that. Alternate game modes are great.
This is I'm not quite sure if this is a question, and if it is, it's probably one you can't really answer, but it's
think about what you're asking before you ask it, Vase.
Okay, I'll ask this one instead then. From JP. From JP, Northern Lights over Arkham. It's a long one. One of my favorite campaign starts is the Dunwich Legacy Deluxe Box, as you can vary the campaign a bit by choosing between the two scenarios on which to play first. Have you ever thought of expanding this to be a mechanic for a complete campaign in some degree? Here's an example. At the start of the campaign, you can choose between 1A and 1B in either order. Then you can play 2A or 2B in either order, and so on and so forth. The scenarios have slight variations depending on the order. Then the final scenario takes into account the order in which you played in some degree. The story would be that the investigators are solving what seems to be separate and smaller standalone cases, which eventually tie into the same culprit at scenario 4. Would this be too much of a nightmare to design? It sounds pretty cool.
It sounds awesome. I don't think it'd be too much of a nightmare. I mean, so to Nathan's credit, I think one of the bad things about our current distribution model is the scenarios all come out in order, and you have to then play them in order. Technically, we kind of did sort of that idea with Dream Eaters, where you could play 1A and then 1B and then 2B and then 2A and then whatever, you could go back and forth. But the order in which you played them didn't really matter. It was more just that way, because once you had all 8, you could like choose to do a different order for fun. But like, they're still going to come out in that order. So the first time you play, you're always going to play it in that order, right? And so that's kind of the downfall of that method of like, let's say we did a campaign like what you just described, right? Ultimately, Pack 3 is going to come out when Pack 3 comes out, and everyone's going to play it when pack 3 comes out, they're not going to wait until pack 4, unless they were waiting until the whole cycle is done anyway, in which case maybe they'll just do the whole cycle at the end. I guess I don't really have a concrete answer beyond that. Does sound really cool, and I'd love to explore something like that someday. I know that we're definitely looking into doing some wacky stuff in future campaigns, for sure, in terms of linearity and the lack thereof.
Yeah, Untitled just posted in chat that a big box with 8 scenarios that you could do in any order would be quite ridiculous. I totally agree. That was actually an idea that I had echoed a few weeks ago too. That would be super cool.
Thank you, Untitled.
Like standalones in a way.
So another important question: how's your cat?
Oh, just real quick.
She's great.
Are we doing okay time-wise? I know you said you had to split around this time.
Oh, I posted in your thing. I moved my thing to 1:30, so you got me for another half hour.
So continue about the cat.
I expected her to be here. She usually, whenever I'm on a call, she usually hops over and meows into the microphone incessantly, but I don't see her. She must be hiding under the bed, as she is wont to do.
Oh yeah.
Okay, next question. I guess I should have asked this when we were talking about Bless and Curse, but going back to Bless and Curse. Nice. So Bless and Curse brings a new dynamic to the card design. If you could go back, do you think you would have put them in the game from the very beginning? Or do you think it fits better just as a single cycle thing?
It's tough to say, because with the core set, you always have to walk a fine line between depth and simplicity. And I worry that adding them right in the very beginning might have been too much. But maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. I would have to go back, and if I could go back in time, I wouldn't necessarily add them, but I would definitely like test them and see how easily people are able to pick up the concept. I think one of the reasons why they work so well now is because we've become so ingrained in the way that like the Chaos Bag currently works, that they really shake things up. And if they were in there from the beginning, maybe they wouldn't shake things up quite as much or at all. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, I think I was just going to reiterate what I already said, but like, I think that they worked better now than they would have if they had been included in the core set to begin with. But I do love them, and I do kind of wish that you didn't necessarily need Innsmouth to have them. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
And I'm also getting a question from YouTube about the blowgun, and I don't think it's a lot of hot air. I think it has a point, kind of tongue in cheek. I don't mean to dart around so much, but I really feel like a future expansion would do well with lung-powered weaponry. So that's all I had to say. I appreciate that.
You really pierce into that issue. To piggyback on the Curse Bless thing, Solar J asked, is it better to have standalone interactions such as Myriad and Seal that are clearly understood, or more integrated ones like Bless Curse? And I don't know what he means by better. I'm assuming like for design purposes.
I think the important thing to remember when designing stuff is like the more you add that isn't self-contained, the more it will compound on itself over time. Stuff like Myriad is great because it's one and done. If you don't have that expansion, you don't need to know what Myriad is. If you're playing with someone else who's playing Myriad cards and it comes up, it probably won't affect you ever. They can just play Easy Mark and then you're good, and you just keep playing, and you don't need to know that what Easy Mark did. With Bless and Curse, because it's more integrated, like you say, it means that like it's kind of like you have to be sparing with that kind of design. If you add too much of that, then by year 6 or year 7 or year 8, you have a ton of integrated mechanics, and when you try to introduce it to a new player, it's overwhelming, right? So yeah, like both have their pros and cons, and I think the trick is to just be sparing when introducing a new mechanic that has that level of integration.
And what are some rejected mechanics that never made it past R&D, if you're allowed to talk about that? Like Trench Knife clearly had some mechanic that made it really powerful that didn't make it past R&D.
Is that so?
Yep.
Rejected mechanics. I'm not allowed to talk about a lot of stuff that we didn't ever like do. There have been a couple that I've talked about specifically. I wouldn't say they're rejected mechanics so much as they are like alternate versions of existing mechanics, because that's more commonly what will happen is we'll come up with an idea, we'll try something, it doesn't work, we'll tweak it, we'll try it again, it doesn't work, we tweak it again, we keep iterating and iterating until we come up with what you see, and you don't see all of those past iterations. So one example is actually the Bless and Curse tokens. They didn't used to be +2 and -2. They used to be Elder Signs and auto fails, just straight up auto fails and more Elder Signs, and it was obviously a lot more impactful. Like adding 1 curse token to the bag was huge. It was doubling your auto fail percentage, but it was too much. It was too much, and especially with the Bless tokens, like getting your Elder Signs over and over and over again when you had all the other cards that were adding Bless tokens, it was a bit crazy. So we scaled it back to what you see now, and I think that was the right play. We also had like a previous version of Calvin who dealt with weaknesses. That's one that I've said before on one of our live streams, where like he, instead of powering up based on damage and horror, he powered up based on like how many weaknesses he drew that game. And yeah, for various reasons, we scrapped that as well. Usually when we scrap something, it's because it's not fun and bad. So I don't think anyone should get attached to them.
No, I think touching back for just a hot second on you're not including Blessed and Cursed at first and adding them later. I do feel like getting people used to them kind of, grease the wheels of sorts, getting ready for that. Just like Betrayal at House on the Hill, extremely popular board game, originally had 6 floors, and they were like, nope, cut it down to 3. Then the expansion added 1 floor, and of course everybody knew how to play, so adding 1 floor was exciting. So no, I definitely see what you're saying with the whole keep it simple, stupid concept. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
Man from Lang, it seems like you have a question.
Yes, I did have one rules question that came up when I was playing yesterday. How do the unspeakable oath weaknesses work with the Pit of Despair unspent experience? Is it just the same? Like if you fail to achieve the objective on the unspeakable oath, does it just you lose the 2 XP and then you gain the XP from the unspent experience during the interlude?
Yeah, I think the way it works is you still earn the XP at the end of Pit of Despair. You just can't spend it yet. So with Unspeakable Oath, you would just earn fewer, and you would write that number. So it would still be affected by the Unspeakable Oath, and you still just can't spend it.
I guess my question was what came up because it's sort of divided into 2 sections. So you earn XP based on the victory display, which I believe is pretty minimal in that scenario. Like you can earn, say, from the I believe it's the Underground Rivers. So say if I cleared those and then subtracted 2 from that, and then you have the interlude afterwards when you can also gain some experience points. So say if I don't earn any experience points in the scenario itself because I don't clear any locations or kill any enemies, does that -2 carry over to the interlude, or is that done at that point and then I earn the interlude experience points?
Yeah, I think the interlude is separate.
Okay.
Unspeakable Oath should only affect the scenario that you're playing, not the interlude that follows.
Okay, well that's good news.
Good question.
Those weaknesses are pretty difficult for the one I drew for Silas was the investigation one, which is not his forte. So I'm glad that I earned a little bit of experience points anyway.
Going back to something for just a hot second, I know we talked about possible ideas going forward. We talked about what's worked out well. And coming from a sales perspective and a gaming perspective, right now I'm playing Pandemic Season 1. I'm also tomorrow going to be playing my second run through of Clank Legacy. Just put this in your brain pan and let it simmer for a bit, or talk to people at FFG. But I think a standalone potentially, or a deluxe box, it isn't a cycle. It's like a legacy one-time go through would be really cool. Let's say it costs like $30, and I don't know if you've done any legacy games, but your main cards, your main cards you wouldn't alter, so you wouldn't have to worry about ripping them up or defacing them or whatever. But you would get some additional cards that you could put some stickers on. So maybe you can get a magnifying glass and something unlocks it so that you can now see something else, or you do have choices where you do A or B and you rip the other one up and it's gone forever. And I think that Arkham doesn't necessarily need a legacy mode. But if you had a small pool of cards and a special adventure that was specifically tuned to work with the mythos and with some of the mechanics that have already been established, that would be really cool, and it would sell well, and people would rebuy it to do it again, especially if it wasn't too expensive.
Nathan, you're preaching to the choir.
Okay, all right.
That idea has been living rent-free in my head since 2016.
Well, good. Nathan. Free rent.
I mean, I do think one of the nice things about Arkham is it sort of sells that legacy experience without needing any of those expensive components, or without needing like recharge packs to play over and over and over again. But I love legacy games. I've loved legacy games since Risk Legacy. Me and my friends played Risk Legacy when it first came out. I saw it on a shelf and immediately bought it just because the idea sounded so good, and I've been playing them ever since. I would love to see something like that. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Arkham is legacy light. That's what I like to call it, when it can feel like a legacy but fully resettable. And I don't think that should ever change. But a small addition like a standalone box or a standalone even pack, it gives you a taste of that. Holy crap, like I keep dismissing it like, oh, it doesn't need it. And then I think of more ideas to make that really exciting and sell really well. And I'm like, oh God, that would be so good.
Yeah.
Well, like on the subject of board games, we were having a little chat about board games in our last episode. I'm curious, MJ, what are some of your favorite board games recently?
Good question.
Recently, or just in general?
Just in general.
Oh geez, that's tough. So like my favorite board game of all time is Twilight Imperium. I bought Twilight Imperium on a whim in a Walden Books. I shouldn't say I bought it. I begged my dad to buy it for me because I was a kid, and he did. Bless his heart, he bought a $100 something board game because I wanted it. That game, I absolutely adore that game. That's probably the game that got me into Fantasy Flight as a company. What else? I really like the Pandemic Legacy series. I think those games are fantastic. I recently played Season 0, and it was just a blast. I mean, gosh, what else? Gloomhaven's a lot of fun. It's almost too much content. I haven't beaten either version of it. I really like Dice Throne. I've been playing that a lot lately. Dice Throne is a really fun game with some spectacular graphic design.
Have you done the new Dice Throne Adventures?
Yeah, I just got it. I just got it in the mail like 2 weeks ago. It's so much fun. It's great.
It's phenomenal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many games that I've played. I actually had to get rid of about 2/3 of my board game collection because when I moved in September, I found out that my basement had flooded and the water damage had destroyed, I think, over $400 worth of board games. So that sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah, you know what though? It was a good excuse for me to thin out my collection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have a wall of shame?
I do.
What's on the
Actually,
wall?
I don't even have a wall of shame. I have a basement full of boxes of shame because I never unpacked them when I moved in last fall.
Yeah. I have that too. Yeah. Unfortunately. And you've been playing a lot of Hades recently too, right?
What'd you say?
You've been playing a lot of Hades recently? That's a game I've been loving. So
I probably play more video games than I do board games by like a factor of 3. Yeah, Hades is fantastic. That's probably my game of the year for last year. I play a ton of Destiny. Destiny is like one of my favorite games of all time. Like always playing it. I love RPGs. I love like the Persona series. Octopath Traveler was great. Actually, if you go on my website, on my blog, I'm doing a series right now about some of my favorite gaming moments, video game moments. So check that out. Yeah.
And that's on the site you linked earlier?
Yes. I will write it into Twitch chat so that the viewers can check it out.
Cool.
I cannot believe I got this URL, but it's bewaretheblackcat.com.
It always feels great when you get the URL that you wanted and it's cheap, because I remember I remember when we tried to get our hosting done. I remember trying to get Great Old Ones Gaming was $2,000 a month, but putting the word "the" in front of it, $20. Okay.
Nice. Oh, awesome.
Okay.
I wonder if you can do a "my name is Earl" but URL instead. I'll have to check that out. My name is Earl.com.
Pretty witty.
All right. I think I do have a prior engagement at 1:30. I think I have time for one more question. If you've got a good closer.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No pressure.
No. Oh goodness.
I'll do a chat one. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I have a closing question. Do you have any questions for us?
Do I have any questions? What is this?
Ooh,
yeah. I'm doing the Nathan right now.
Do I have any questions for you? I honestly no, but I will say thank you so much for everything that you guys do for the community. It's wonderful that we have so many different content creators and YouTubers, and like every time a pack drops and you're doing like analysis of the cards and playthroughs of the scenarios. Honestly, it does so much for the game. I don't think you even realize how much it does for the game to have such a engaged community. It's really fantastic. My subscription feed is just filled with Arkham videos, and it makes me really happy, and it makes me really proud. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. That was really nice of you to say. Yeah, I mean, you make such a great game. You know, it's so easy for everyone, I think, to kind of band around it, and the sense of camaraderie that the game provides to the players too, I think, really helps to reinforce that too, which is awesome. So, I mean, case in point today, right? We've raised over $1,500 as of right now.
Right,
Doctors Without Borders.
So incredible.
But yeah. Go ahead, Nathan.
I mean, I was just going to say that remember, MJ, any organs you ever need donated, I am willing to donate any, including my heart, because as we all know, we could use the extra content out there, not so much my jokes. So, I mean, I'm getting a lot of preach from the chat. Give it now. Yeah, no. So everybody agrees with me.
I will ask one final question that I think everybody in the community wants to know, and that is, are we going to have news of the next cycle soon?
The next cycle, I don't think I can tell you anything about that, but I can tell you that you should. If I did, it would be no.
For charity.
Yes, sadly, I'm on a, they have me on a tight leash right now. I can't spoil anything, but I can say that you should stay tuned to our webpage and our social media next Thursday around that time. You might have something.
Ooh, nice.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to FFG's Twitter lately. Mm-hmm. There are some cryptic messages that I've been feeding. So
I love the artwork, by the way.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Really, honestly, Lenka destroyed those pieces. I had so much fun writing the descriptions for those. I think I spent more time writing the descriptions on each of those than I have on almost any other card. They're really fun.
Wow.
I'm really big into
MJ, tarot. Thank you. Thank you 1 million times for all you do, for coming on the show, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to looking back and watching the recording of this later.
Oh.
All right.
That was good. That was going to be more creative, but I guess it wasn't.
I will just put some music in.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Sorry again for being on deadline. Care. I wish I could stay longer.
Thanks for being flexible.
Yeah, no worries. We appreciate any time.
Thank you.
Onyx says goodbye.
Bye, Onyx. Oh, wait, my cat just showed up. Wait, come here. Come on.
Look at the screen. You might see a cat, Onyx.
Oh, wait, hold on 1 second.
Oh, yeah, this is worth it. I got Onyx ready.
Okay. Come here. Oh. Kitty cat.
Look.
Yes.
Aww. Look, you kitty.
Upside down.
Oh my god, so fluffy.
Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
I gotta bounce.
Yep.
Bye.
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 Well, Matt, we received some donations. Do you want to read off some donations for us real quick before we enter trivia?
Oh, I was just trying to figure out whether MJ was referring to this Thursday or next Thursday. I'm just going to assume it's this Thursday because that's better. Thursday? Yeah, this coming Thursday. So let's see. We've got Felian, who you may have experienced for a couple of hours there. Filian with a $50 donation says, IDK, if you've heard of this charity or this card game, but they are both pretty great. I think that's a message directly to the Doctors Without Borders. It's kind of related to my new campaign to send an Arkham Horror core set to Frank's brother so he can play Arkham Horror with the Doctors Without Borders personally while they are out fighting COVID in the Far East. McNick9000 has donated $20. Tika Toy, who we got to hear her lovely voice for a while there, she also donated $20. And we have a $10 anonymous donation. So by my count, that puts us at a whopping $1,550, which has smashed not only our goal, but our revised goal, revised up from $1,000. So I think it's time that we need to make the big push to 2,000. That would be a nice round number to end this day with, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. If we get to $2,000, Vase will send you fish and chips in the mail from Panama via machete with the botanist. It's gonna happen.
Every time you say that, people believe it, and I get emails of people saying the competition.
Oh no!
This last episode.
Fan interaction. Oh my god! Oh, what we're gonna do? It's gonna blow up our email.
And can you remind?
And how am I gonna mail fish and chips?
Yeah, where can we donate, people?
So if you type in !donate into the chat, a link will pop up. But if you also go into the About page, there is also a little widget in our Twitch channel as well.
Isn't that from Star Wars? Wasn't there a widget?
Was
all
there?
Right. I think I'm right. I don't know. We're not in the right game or mode right now, but I'm pretty sure there's somebody named Widget.
Wicked.
Instead of just trivia. Oh, see, I was close. Don't we have other things to discuss for the show? Are we on a schedule here? What's the deal?
We got about half an hour, so it's up to you guys.
Yeah, let's fill it. Let's fill it with some talk.
Well, I finally got my pack of Light in the Fog. What about you guys?
Nope.
You guys still waiting on that?
I've got mine.
Woo! There we go. Did they release the player cards on Arkham DB?
They did.
I have them loaded up.
Oh, right. Well, well, since we have JP and we have Matt here, I guess we could do a little bit of a review of the player cards, right? Ooh. That sounds fun.
Yes, please. Okay. Can I do the first one?
Absolutely.
Holy Rosary got an upgrade for cost of 2 experience. Cost 2 item charm blessed with both the icons of willpower and dexterity. Still given a sanity of 2, you get +1 willpower. Reaction effect after you succeeded a willpower test on a treachery. Exhaust Holy Rosary. Add 2 blessed tokens to the chaos bag. Once again, pushing that blessed curse thing right out the door. Gives you more interactions.
I like this card.
What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, it's a good flavor win, if nothing else. The fact that it changes to Guardian is very unique. In fact, is it like completely unique? Isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
That's a good catch.
I believe it is the first card that has switched classes.
Frank from Drawn to the Flame was cracking a joke about it. It was pretty good on the episode. Somebody want to do the next one?
I'm not super crazy about the response simply because I don't know how often it's really depends a lot on how often you're gonna trigger that. It seems pretty iffy, but Guardians will be happy to have access to +1 willpower and a little extra sanity since they are not the most sane bunch in the
right. It's for Guardian. It's an alternative to Police Badge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a flavor win for Sister Mary, if nothing else.
Oh, Matastrophic.
Yes.
On Police Badge, do you happen to know the number that's on Police Badge?
No, dude. That's like
everybody knows that.
The number on Police Badge? What?
That was
the badge.
Yeah, man, this is the
kind of our trivia from last episode.
Oh my gosh!
You can see how unfair his trivia questions really are.
Whoa! First of all, I was going to write you and ask.
There's no way.
I was going to write and ask if I should do trivia like how many classes are in Arkham? How do you spell Arkham?
See, that was fair.
All right, going on to the next one.
We need like the primary school of the primary school of trivia questions. We don't need kindergarten, but we don't need doctorate level either.
See, I don't know what your guys' problem is. I think the trivia questions are fine.
Which weapons are in the shed on prepare for the worst? Come on.
To be fair, I let people pick the number. All right, does somebody want to do Shield of Faith?
Does this one character have? Shield of Faith, I'll read it. Guardian.
Sure.
Asset, Arcane, Spell Blessed, cost 2, XP 2. 2 willpower icons. You can seal up to 5 blessed tokens. If Shield of Faith has no token sealed on it, discard it. Reaction ability: when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location, exhaust Shield of Faith and release a chaos token sealed here, and you can cancel that attack.
Hey, that's awesome. I mean, you're screwing over your bag, but if you need someone to stay alive for a bit, oof.
Yeah, I like the location bit a lot. I'm a sucker for cards that work for your friends. Most recently, I've liked Third Time's the Charm, simply because you can use it on your friends, and something like this kind of fits right into that. Yeah, I think it's deceptively strong.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think this card's very good. It's essentially 5 dodges.
Yeah, 5 dodges.
If you have 5,
others,
if you have 5 blessed tokens in the bag, then
3 or 4, it's still good value.
Yeah, I feel like Diana Stanley and Sister Mary pretty much are going to be the ones that benefit from this. Maybe Father Mateo a little bit, but I feel like it's kind of limited in scope as far as who really wants it, you know?
Yeah, am I the only person?
What's that?
Go ahead, Base.
You know that card, that purple card where you can... It's kind of like water protection, but it's with a... if you have to draw like 5 tokens, and if you pull like a bless, then you can cancel the treachery. Damn, I forget what that one's called.
Yeah, it's a spell.
Ward of Brilliance or whatever. You talking about the
something like that?
Ward of Radiance.
Yeah, Ward of Radiance. Like that one. Not every mystic's gonna take that.
True.
Yeah. Am I the only person that says Mateo like Jamaica? Mateo. Am I the only? Man
No,
from Lang, do you want to
didn't.
do the next card, Faye?
I'm going to be doing that all the time now.
I do. Faye is a Seeker skill, innate cursed, costs 1 XP, has 3 icons, 1 willpower, 2 wild, and if a curse token is revealed during the skill test, you may return Faye to your hand when this test ends. I really like this card, having played around with the curse deck a little bit. This card in combination with the Blasphemous Covenant is pretty great, since you can, if you do happen to trigger if you happen to draw a curse token, you can trigger the Blasphemous Covenant, turn it into a +1, and then bounce this back to your hand, so you can use it on a test that you actually need it for. So I'd be very happy to spend 1 XP on something like this.
Oh, Mythos Busters $300 donation.
Yeah, remember they're matching up to $300. So
that's
nice.
So it looks like we've reached a $2,000 goal.
Holy cow!
Including the match.
That's insane.
So we're pushing to 2,500, everybody. We are pushing to 2,500. We're gonna do this, guys. Wow. We've got how much time do we have? We have at least, Jesus, we have like, I don't know. I'm doing time zone time.
We have like 8.5 hours left.
Yeah, we are only at the halfway point, so 8.5 hours left.
This community is so awesome.
It really is. We have a $50 donation from Sub-Zero Joe, who says that Carolyn Fern, the botanist, should be a parallel investigator. 100%
I would
agree.
play the crap out
Why
of her.
did we not ask MJ about that?
That's true.
We can all message MJ, all of us.
Collectively.
All of us.
Just add him on Twitter. Like, MJ, we need Carolyn Fern, the botanist.
You can add plants. Oh my God! No, wait for it. I'm not saying spoilers. I'm not saying there will be any apex stranglevines in any of the scenarios you ever do. But let's say Carol Fern, the botanist, comes across it. Oh, my friend, there's going to be one person walking away from that, and it won't be a plant. You know what I'm saying? All right. Cell walls divided.
I got a special rule if
go ahead.
If Carolyn Fern, the botanist, manages to draw dendromorphosis as her weakness, it actually is like a good thing for her.
It's almost like she's a plant, like she was put there. No, I agree. That's awesome.
Solar Jay's right. There is a botanist in Return to the Forgotten Age.
Oh, I forget her name. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's in Threads of Fate. But
Nancy. Oh, Matastrophic. Just for Gicks and Shiggles, do you want to do a card?
Okay, sure. Yeah. I will skip over all the cards, but I'll go straight to Lucky Penny, Omen of Misfortune.
Oh, there you go.
So, Lucky Penny, Omen of Misfortune. It is an accessory. Even though the art clearly depicts somebody holding something in his hand, it's still an accessory. All right, we accessorize with coins in the 1920s. I mean, it was right around the recession era, so coins are definitely something you accessorize with. It is exceptional, which we haven't seen in quite a while. I have a funny relationship with exceptional cards, probably because I play Lola Haze a lot, which means that you can have level 4 rogue cards kind of in Lola Haze because of exceptional. All right, here we go. Forced. When you reveal a bless or curse token during a skill test you are performing, so you can't use this on your friends. Flip a coin. Yeah, baby. On a heads, treat that token as a bless token. On a tails, treat it as a curse token. If you happen to treat a bless as a curse as a result of this effect, draw a card. This is one of those cards that I'm probably never going to get to play, but I think is absolutely hilarious. And it means as a rogue, you can load up the deck with curses and then sometimes get some blesses out of it. Sometimes.
Well, you could combine this with Priest of Two Face, and then you could get some blessed tokens that way, and then generate curse tokens with it.
Yeah, if you have if you already have the covenant, the rogue covenant, like it's there's no downside here, if you have the rogue covenant, because you can ignore curses already. Yeah, so they're definitely doing a deal with rogues ignoring curses. That seems to be their thing. Yeah.
I think while we're stealing mechanics from the early 1990s, we should have some sort of seeker event that a card that you have to flip from like high above the table, and if it lands on a
like
location,
a chaos orb,
like a chaos orb, you get to like move to that location or something like that.
Tournament
and
where that was.
And we would have a complete set of really crazy 90s cards.
We could have a falling star mechanic that hits enemies. By the way, just for some people out there that aren't as familiar with the cards, do you want to explain exceptional for a hot second?
Sure. Exceptional means that the card might be level 2, but cost 4 XP instead. And it means you can only have one in a deck. So the reason why I mentioned Lola,
singular,
she can take this 4 XP card, even though she normally couldn't, because it's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a hidden benefit, right? That a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah. Lola Hayes.
Could be a drawback. Because
Lola Hayes is never a drawback.
Okay, out. Speaking of exceptional, we also have Eye of the Jinn. Nate, you want to cover that one?
Oh, absolutely. But we missed a seeker card because Matt didn't want to.
Oh no, we'll go back.
We don't need to talk about that one.
Yeah. Oh no, we'll definitely have Matastrophic cover. No. Nate, do you want to cover Eye of the Jinn real quick?
Sure. Eye of the Jinn is a item, relic, bless, curse traits. It has 2 intellect icons. It bears the exceptional keyword, and has a reaction that says when you initiate a skill test during your turn, exhaust Eye of the Jinn. Set your base skill value to 5 for this skill test. If a blessed token is revealed during the test, ready Eye of Jinn. If a curse token is revealed during the test, you may take an additional action during this turn. Thoughts?
Wow.
I love this card.
Really good for rogues who
love this card.
Who like to
the
play
ability
with
to set your base skill value to anything is usually very, very good. So
yeah, this reminds me a lot of the classic card High Roller, and it's ilk like Quick Study and Well Prepared. It's in that same vein where you're gonna raise your space skill value by a couple of points going into a skill test. This one costs a little more experience than say High Roller, but it can get hilarious, with being able to ready it or being able to take additional actions. And then of course you could figure out a way to try to arrange getting both an additional action and a ready out of it. I mean, it just seems like tons of fun, in anybody that can take it, really.
Wow.
Now,
I think this card is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize, Vase. Did you want to add more to that?
I'm always thinking, just like Matastrophic's always thinking Lola, I'm always thinking Father Mateo, and I mean, he doesn't add too many curse tokens, but it's this card just for him is fantastic. I mean, wow. Anyways, I'm just thinking out loud. Go ahead, Nathan.
Well, Matastrophic, you had said you wanted to read Guided by the Unseen.
I guess it was snuck in there. All right, here we go. Guided by the Unseen is a level 3 seeker asset, arcane. So I can't see the picture because I don't own the pack yet. So I'm guessing it takes up a spell slot. It's XP 3. It only costs 2, very small, and it has 4 secrets on it. And I think we've gotten some secret synergy earlier in the cycle. And as a lightning fast action during a skill test at your location, the performing investigator may search the top 3 cards of their deck. So search, so you can trigger research cards and Mandy's weakness for a card that can be committed to this test. You may spend a secret to commit that card. Shuffle the performing investigator's deck. Okay, so you just look for a skill. You get to look for a skill card and trigger all your research, and you get to do it a million times. And you shuffle each time. So this is one of those like, so if you have like a whole day to kill, and you're playing Mandy Thompson, this is how you troll your friends by by just triggering this over and over. That's what you do. That's what this card's good for. Yeah.
I may or may not do that. So if you ever see me at a convention and I'm playing a Seeker, don't trust me at all.
Is there a limit on Mandy's ability, or could she just trigger this like multiple times to commit 2 cards per?
No, she can only use her ability once per round.
Okay.
So thankfully, oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, that keeps it balanced. Then it's all
balanced.
This card is anything but balanced.
Which card?
My God. So I was thinking the same thing Pengs is thinking here. It doesn't exhaust, and it doesn't have a limit. So literally, you can use it. Search the top 3 cards. You don't find the card you want. Use it again. Search the top 3 cards. Until you find the card you want, and then you spend the secret.
What was that white card in Magic the Gathering that destroyed all lands?
Armageddon?
Wrath of God.
Yeah, great. Nate, can you read that next one?
I see what you're doing here. You're doing trivia for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Vase, come on. You don't know your Magic trivia either? I'd crush you in that game, too.
Mystic,
Armageddon.
That's because you're the Kingdom Hearts World Champion, and you're naturally
good. We have Armageddon. It is a spell cursed trait, a spell asset. It costs 4 resources and 4 experience. Has a willpower and a combat icon. Comes into play with 3 charges and has an action to fight. This attack uses willpower instead of combat. You get +2 willpower and deal +1 damage for this attack. For each curse token revealed during this attack, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location or place a charge on this card. So this is a really interesting upgrade to the original ones. Man from Lang, we had discussed the original ones at a decent amount of length in the original video that we did in Devil Reef, and I'm curious what you think about adding for each curse token revealed, and if you think that has like a major impact on this card's viability.
Well, if you play it with Favor the Moon, you're going to get at least 1, and then depending on how many you draw, I mean, that's really good. I think if you were already going to play this trio of Armageddon, Eye of Chaos, and Shroud of Shadows, then you're going to upgrade and find ways to draw those extra tokens to proc those abilities as often as possible. So yeah, pretty good.
You had mentioned Eye of Chaos. What is that card?
That is the investigation card of the lot. Asset, arcane, spell cursed, costs 5, costs 4 XP, has a willpower and intellect skill icon, uses 3 charges. Spend 1 charge, investigate. Investigate using willpower instead of intellect. You get +2 willpower for this skill test. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue at this location for each curse token revealed during this investigation. You may discover 1 clue at a connecting location or place 1 charge on Eye of Chaos.
Do you feel like the 5 cost is on par with what it should be?
5 cost is a bit high.
It's the same as Rite of Seeking, though. Level 4 Rite of Seeking?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is Rite of Seeking costed correctly?
Yeah, I guess having played a lot of Mystics, I find I want Sixth Sense first, and then Rite of Seeking later if I need it. Just because of that 5 cost is such a huge hit right at the start of the game. But they do have Mystics do have a lot of ways to reduce the cost of these things at this point. So I doubt, I think it's only going to be in very rare circumstances that you're paying the full 5. If you've got Uncage the Soul, you're paying 2. So that's much more reasonable.
Which you should be running IMO.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I wouldn't want to have to pay the full cost of this card all that often because it Unless you're playing cards like David Renfield, you're not going to have a lot of resource generation to work with. So you're going to have to dig yourself out of that early hole. It's curious having to play, having played Mystics so much and then switching to an investigator like Silas, where all of his assets are so damn cheap. Being able to play multiple assets in a turn, whereas with some of the Mystic cards, it's just like, okay, I'm going to play this one, and
or some of the Guardians,
and then I'm going to wait a couple turns while I regenerate my resource pool.
Vase.
Carry on.
Real quick, Gabby Lima P from the chat has put out a shameless plug, which I'll be happy to plug for him. Wrote an article on the probabilities around the upgraded spell cards as well as Fae. So I am interested in where the article is. Don't post the link because the bot will ban you like it did for me. That was a hilarious mess. But just write the name of the website in the chat without the .com, and I'll read it out for everybody.
If I fixed that this morning, so people can post links
without getting completely banned, even if they're administrators getting banned.
Yes.
I think you were banned for playing Father Mateo, really. I don't think it had anything to do with the link.
Okay.
I think Twitch just recognized that enough is enough. And
Father Mateo can take Eye of the Jinn at level 0, like as a first scenario, he can take that card.
And that is a true statement.
That is
Mateo's great, guys.
Factual statement.
Don't bash the Mateo because the power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels you.
He's good, guys. Like, my group's been playing like with Father Mateo and Sister Mary and some of the little more Jim especially. Like, these guys are like really good. If you just tilt your typical Mystic deck building a little bit more towards the 4 willpower as opposed to just mashing the 5 willpower, like a blunt instrument. Like, these guys are really good. Especially Mateo. Holy
Especially Mateo. Especially, I love that. Cut that clip and post it on repeat, Nate, when we post it on audio.
We got about 10 minutes left. We got
okay, hold on. Let me plug that thing. Hold on.
Oh, it happened. It already happened. Vase, you're old, man.
Obscurestudies.com. I want to say it out loud. Fuckers. Obscurestudies.com.
Hey, whoa. We were keeping this family friendly for 9 hours, and all of a sudden. Damn it, Vase. You've ruined it. You've ruined the whole stream.
Shroud of Shadows. Mystic card, asset, arcane, spell curse. It's basically the same as the others, except it's the evade one. Spell cursed, costs 3, XP 4. Willpower and agility, and has 3 charges. Action, spend 1 charge. Evade. The evasion uses willpower instead of agility. You get +2 for the test. If you succeed and the evaded enemy is... Yes. Given. And the enemy is non-elite, you may move that enemy to a connecting location. For each curse token revealed during this evasion attempt, you may move to a connecting location or place 1 charge on Shroud of Shadows.
Yeah, so once again, utility and evasion. I like that. For every chaos token revealed, let's do this. Amazing.
Olive. Yeah. All right, Nathan, Spirit of Humanity, go.
You got it. Go. Survivor, asset, arcane, ritual, blessed, cursed, cost 2, XP 2, test icons, a willpower. Fast action, exhaust Spirit of Humanity and take 1 damage and 1 horror. Add 2 blessed tokens to the chaos bag. Exhaust it, add 2 curse tokens to the chaos bag. Heal 1 damage and 1 horror. So you got the back and forth you go, which I think is great for all those people that are enjoying the cigarette case and smoking pipe. You got a little bit of that action.
This card is Calvin's signature card, right? For sure.
He's in the art.
You would think.
I mean, this card's amazing for Calvin. Being able to manage your health and resource totals is so good. So good. I really like this card quite a bit.
It's a lot of fun. In
Plus, Father Mateo can take.
Is your name Calvin, Nate? Because Calvin loves this card.
And finally a healing effect that doesn't take an action.
That's yes. Also a good point, man. From Lang. Yeah, because you can use this like right at the end of a scenario. Just kind of heal a couple damage and a couple horror in the last couple turns. Make sure you get out alive, and yeah, that's a neat use of it too. I'm curious though, would anyone other than Calvin take this card?
Mateo, because he can.
I have it in my Agnes deck.
Do you?
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you can heal horror off Agnes.
Yeah, it goes.
Carolyn Fern.
The way my Agnes has been going is I either end up running close to the edge and having like 7 horror on her, or I do okay and I'm willing to take some take some horror in order to deal out damage as a react. So I have a pretty specific Agnes build in a 4-player game where I'm only using like Rite of Seeking, Clairvoyance. I just don't have Shriveling at all in there, so that's where Spirit of Humanity goes. Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah. On this note, like somebody in chat earlier was talking about like the best part of Bless and Curse is that it really opens up the Chaos Bag, which largely up until this cycle was just this monolith that we really couldn't like mess with very much. Like you had your tokens in your bag and you just had to deal with that for the whole campaign. But the good part about Bless and Curse is that, hey, now the players have some sort of way to like steer the boat a little bit by adding some Bless tokens or adding some Curse tokens. And I think like this card does both. Like if you need some help, you can get some healing, but then maybe pay for it later in the form of curses. Or if you're doing well, you can take some damage in order to help your team out as the game goes on. And I think that by itself kind of really sums up like the best parts of Bless and Curse, just being able to like steer the boat a bit where we really couldn't for the most part, except for like Seal, before now.
Yeah, and the slot on this one is pretty good too for investigators who want this sort of effect, that dumping it in the arcane slot for somebody like Tommy or really any of the survivors works out nicely for them.
Oh yeah, Tommy.
And do you want to do Harmony Restored?
Sorry, was that me?
Yeah, did you want to do Harmony Restored?
Sure, I can do Harmony Restored. It is a survivor event. Fortune Blessed, costs 3, 2 XP, has 2 willpower skill icons. You search the Chaos Bag for X curse tokens and return them to the token pool. X is the number of Blessed tokens in the Chaos Bag. You gain 1 resource for each curse token removed this way.
Yeah, similar to what Matastrophic was saying, it does make the Chaos Bag more of a living artifact than a monolith.
Yeah, definitely. This card's cool. Especially, I feel like a lot of the Bless and Curse decks, at least the ones that I've built, tend to play Tempt Fate. I don't know if that's been the experience with you guys, but I end up playing that card just because it's one of the better ways of adding a huge swath of tokens in one go. So a card like this is nice because you can kind of take out the excess curse tokens and then gain 3 resources out of it, which is cool. So I like it.
And resource generation in Survivor is not all that common.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, right. There's not much.
I think. Up until him, Take Heart was really pretty much the go-to. I think for a lot of decks was having to fail something in order to. And the survivors more than I think any other class seem to be tilted towards playing both the Bless and Curse game. So being able to trigger this shouldn't be too. You're going to get something out of it.
Yeah, it's also nice if one of your team members or yourself manage to draw the Dread Curse that drops 5 curses into the Chaos Bag as a weakness.
Yeah. Yep,
exactly.
Yeah, so being able to just turn it around is definitely pretty nice.
Yeah, very good point.
And it's another niche card with 2 willpower icons too, so that's another boost for this card too.
Yeah, that's key because I was sitting there looking at it thinking, like what if you draw it in your opening hand? But it's got 2 willpower icons. Like that's never bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always one thing I tend to fall back on with a lot of cards. Like, if it doesn't have good skill icons, I tend not to want to include it in my deck unless it has some very good effect. So, I don't know if that's just the style of deck building that I go for, but unless I'm building like a specific type of deck, then tend to very much gravitate towards consistent cards.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely this is definitely a good consistent card, I think.
Yeah. Davi Lima P in the chat. Davi Lima P in the chat says he's a huge Carolyn fan and has been trying to get a Blessed deck going, but he thinks that we're just missing one Blessed generation card. Book of Psalms is nice, but we need a little more level 0 generation. Kind of agree. Yeah. Kind of agree. I think I would love to see like the community design like 2 Blessed generating and 2 Curse generating cards per class, and like make a nice little booster pack. You know,
I felt the same way about Curse. Testing it a little bit, it seemed like I could use maybe one more. That would be. But I was trying it with Rex, and unfortunately, Rex has the Fortune trait, or the Fortune deck building restriction that basically eliminates 90% of the, or at least like cards like Tempt Fate aren't game. I actually wanted to ask Matt about or MJ about that, as to whether that was sort of an intentional thing, or was it just an accident that the investigator who is supposed to be cursed is kind of actually awkward with the curse mechanic. But who knows? Maybe we'll see a parallel Rex who is who goes all in on the curse mechanic. That would be kind of cool.
Are we able to go over just a few minutes?
Yeah. You want to do trivia?
I mean, we can ludicrous speed. Yeah, I have 1 to 2 minutes of community spotlight, and trivia is all set up. So we're talking about 5 minutes total.
Let's do it. So who you got for a community spotlight?
Well, ironically enough, I have 2 quick things. First of all, I was going to point out once again for everybody, Matastrophic's Carnival of Spiders that is on ArkhamCentral.com. Really great if you want to get your feet wet and try a fan made without totally jumping in the deep end to something huge. This is a great mix of both Carnival of Horrors as well as the Dream Eaters campaign. So if you have the deluxe box for Dream Eaters, and if you have Carnival of Horrors, you can make Carnival of Spiders by printing out a few things. Definitely check it out. A lot of fun. Matastrophic knocked it out of the park with great artwork and great combination of things. So thank you, Matastrophic, for doing that. I even had this picked out before I knew you were going to be in the channel with us. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making that. I guess my quick comment on that is I just had an idea, and like MJ earlier said, like completing something is best. So I just gave myself a deadline, and I spat that out, play tested it a few times on stream with Vase and Nate, in fact. And
that's awesome.
I'm glad people are enjoying it, because it was fun to make, and it just shows what you can do with just 12 cards. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome, and that's what it's all about. I mean, having a good time, adding to the community, giving people more options for what they can do. Yeah. Thanks again for doing it, and we'd like to know more about that in the future, so we'll have to revisit that, maybe have a return to the spiders. I also want to point out that several people have gone from Etsy to their own websites. So for those of you out there that are looking for additional great content to add to your game, accessories, Arbitz has arbitz.com if you want to bling out your game with his fiberglass and metal tokens, especially his deluxe tokens, but he's got a lot of other things on there: Blessed and Cursed, Ammo, Investigators, etc. Vampire Creations has launched their own website. They have path markers as well as individual tokens. Definitely check them out. And of course, Andresia Garnier from Momo Monster Co. has jumped from Etsy to her own website. I talked about her on the last one. But I mean, she's a single creator with her website up, like a lot of people, trying to make a go of it. So if you don't have any mats or want to support her, definitely do so. She's added some prizes from her stock to this charity. So feel free to return the favor to check her stuff out. All right. And with further ado, I have trivia. As usual, I have 3 categories. I have images, I have quotes, and I have icons. Matastrophic, are you playing this week?
Absolutely, yeah. Test me as long as not all the questions are about the number 3 on Police Badge. Holy cow.
Oddly enough, they are. So you're screwed. All right, here we go. Matt, why don't you go ahead and choose the first category?
We were talking about icons a little while ago. Let's do that.
Oh, if it does icons. All right, everybody. So the first one's going to be I'll show the picture here so everybody can see it. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to do that. The 45 Thompson, which is a Guardian rogue weapon, has what icons?
Combat and agility.
A single combat icon?
I think it's
single combat icon is correct.
Yeah.
Nate, you
are correct.
The website down. You can't.
I do. You can see it in the reflection of my glass.
Man from Lang is correct in that the upgraded Guardian version has the extra fun stuff, but the single combat icon is for the original dual class one. Nate, go ahead and go with the next one here.
Pictures.
All right. So in Anna Caslow, our favorite mysterious soothsayer, there are candles involved in this card. How many candles are lit in her card? Anybody?
3.
4.
2.
6. I don't know.
Nate, correct with 2. I don't know. He's doing something. He's Venmoing somebody over here. Hey, pick the next category.
Let's go quotes.
Quotes. Here we go. No stone unturned, no ancient treasure left behind.
Unearth the Ancients?
Anybody else?
Damn it.
Ancient Stone.
Ooh.
Okay. Anybody else? Closing window. 3, 2,
Vantage point.
1. Relic Hunter. Your favorite and mine asset. Yeah.
Oh,
Catastrophic. Go ahead and give us a category.
Artwork again. Let's just try that one.
Pictures. Logical reasoning. How many candles that are lit are in the picture?
1.
Correct. Man from Lang. Point. I was hoping you get a point. That way
Thanks.
the emails from you afterwards are less
in 2 months.
Less acidic. Hey, you scored. Man from Lang, next category.
I'm going to have to count all the candles and all my cards, just after this.
Ooh, that sounds wicked. Man from Lang.
Yes. Let's do pictures again.
Pictures. All right. In the picture for Studious, how many lit candles are in the picture?
0.
Who said that? Was that Vase?
Yeah.
Yes.
Vase, point. All right, Vase, pick the next category.
Pictures again.
Pictures. Moonlight Ritual, how many lit candles are in the picture?
1.
Correct. Who was that, Matt?
Yeah.
Boom, nailed it. Matt, next category.
Quotes. Let's go to quotes.
Let's go to quotes. Here we go. Quitters may never win, but they'll also rarely die.
I'm out of here.
Catastrophic. Point.
Damn.
Love that card.
That was quick.
Nice job.
Lightning
That was
round.
super
Next.
fast.
We got to hurry for the next people.
Icons.
Icons.
Oh, wait. Matt gets to pick.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Vase. Because you picked pictures, here we go. Or icons. Point 45 Thompson, Guardian upgrade. What are the symbols? Anybody?
2
Combat agility.
Combat and agility.
Did everybody say combat and agility?
I said 2 combat.
It's two combat.
What the hell? Didn't you just say combat and agility base and then change it to 2 combat?
I did. I was following what Man from Lang said, but then I remembered it's 2 combat.
Okay, Nate, point.
Yeah.
You're
Let's go
just talking
pictures.
So much. Pictures done. Next category.
Quotes.
Yes.
Done. Here we go. I can hear it. Can it hear me?
Thing that follows?
You would think. That's a good one. No.
What's the Guardian of the Crystallizer?
Also good guess. No. Anybody else? Last guess?
I got nothing.
Stella Clark. Stella Clark. I can hear it. Can it hear me?
Ooh.
All right. Are we doing icons or pictures here? Vase.
Pictures. I thought pictures was done.
Picture. No. Sorry. Icons or quotes?
Quotes.
Quotes. Plants.
Dendromorphosis?
What?
Correct. Nate,
Yeah.
point. Nate, pick the next category.
Let's do icons.
Icons. Survival knife. Anybody?
Single combat?
Matt, point.
Yes.
Matt, icons or quotes?
Quotes are fun.
Whether focused through a mundane trinket or a mystical artifact, there is real power in faith, all the same.
Holy Rosary?
Holy Rosary?
Correct. Man from Lang, point. Matt, point.
I think somebody else said it at the same.
We both did. We both got a point.
I got both. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Man from Lang. Well, it doesn't matter. At this point, I've got 2 cards left, and we want to hurry up for the sake of the next person or next group. All right. Who can tell me the icons on anything you can do better?
6 wild.
Correct. Man from Lang, point. Last question. Yowdle. Name the icons.
1 wild icon?
1 willpower?
Agility.
Matt,
willpower?
point. Ladies and gentlemen, excellent game. Matastrophic, 5 points. Nate, Lost in Time and Space, 4. Man from Lang, 3. Vase, 1. My sincere apologies to it looks like the Mythos Busters coming in. Thank you so much, everybody, for playing and for meeting up. And what are we at for our total? Do we have a new total?
We do. We are at $1,731 with a recent $120 donation from Mag, who says, "Thank you for doing this. This is such a good cause, and good luck." So I'm assuming that's directed more towards you guys.
All right, and with that, I'm going to get out of here so the next group can go. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Matastrophic, for joining
Glad to
Great
be
Old
here,
Ones
guys.
Gaming, and special thanks to one of my favorite things in the world, the Mythos Busters.
Vase.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
And MJ Newman. Let's not
Damn
forget
face.
MJ
Oh, and MJ Newman. Oh, my hero.
Of course. Come on.
All right. Thank you much.